And I do understand that it is rather warm out here. So once again, thank you to all of you for coming for this session. Swagatam and welcome, Ishina. Is that the right way to pronounce it? Yes?
Yes.
Ishina,
Yes.
okay. So welcome to Kerala. We as a society, as you would have known already, I can see one of your students here in Kerala already. So we as a society are quite open to assimilating values and thoughts and cultures and languages and entertainment and cinema and whatever you say from across the globe. So as a boiling pot of various thoughts, KLF stands out as a testimony to that, and we are extremely happy to welcome you to our midst to this very important session on parenting. And it is important today, especially in Kerala, because of the increasing vulnerabilities as well as the increasing aspirations that we assign on to the upcoming generation here. As you would know, for us, the demographic dividend is something that we are grappling with. And in Kerala, if you realize, there are districts where the total fertility rate is 0 or even less. So, we are standing at a rate which is less than the national average. So that would also mean that parenting contributes a lot towards the complete blooming of children, of how many ever we have with us here. As brutal as it might sound, that is the fact of the matter, and I don't want to mince words here, since you're here with us to talk about Power to the Parent. So that is Ishina's book, Power to the Parent. And I was, going through that, and the first thing that struck me was the title, Power to the Parent. Surprisingly, when I saw that, I was very intrigued, as in my 5 years of parenting, or the time spent prior to that thinking about parenting or reading about parenting, power would be the last word I would associate with parenting. I have a son who is 5 years old, and I surrender myself to him. So I become powerless in front of him, and that's how I look at parenting, and probably that's how my parents have looked at us also. And so your title was extremely intriguing, but I assume that you're talking about the intrinsic power that we garner over parenting, or manifestation of power to our children, or the power that we act, or is it about empowering our children? So I would want you to, start off with the title.
Thank you. Thank you for putting these beautiful words to parenting. It exists in every household. It's such a universal thing that we are talking about. And to answer your question, I want to put it with the words that you beautifully use, that I have to surrender to my child. How can I be powerful? I feel powerless in front of my child. I'll put it into these words: the power of surrendering to your child is also a power. It's not easy. It's so hard. And that's what this book is all about. The power is within us. And empowering the parents is what I want to talk about. Why, when I started with this book, this was not the title I had in mind. So because you're talking about the title, I'll be very honest. My title in my heart, that came from my heart, was Being Your Own Parenting Expert. Because I call myself a parenting expert. But when I say a parenting expert and being your own parenting expert, it's because I believe that parents' intuition is really strong. And I want to build up on that intuition. I believe no one can think better for the child more than the parent, even if you're coming to an expert to talk about the child. You are the expert.
Absolutely.
So, but building on that intuition through gaining knowledge and information is what I'm talking about. So giving you the power of information, When you know what a 5-year-old is going through, what they are thinking, what they are feeling, actually what you can see in the name of aggression or tantrum, there's so much underneath that we might be missing. If we see that, won't we feel empowered, and we will be able to help the child instead of becoming part of the problem? So that's empowering parents.
Great. Ishna, when when you say that everyone is their own parenting expert, I couldn't agree more to it. It's like, in Kerala, all of us, dosa is a very, very popular breakfast here, or putta is a very popular
I had it in the morning.
Here, yeah? So it's like, every household has got its own specific way of making the dosa batter and making the dosa, that even if you go to the, the finest of the restaurants and have it, you will never have it your house way or your home way, And it never tastes better than when it is made in your own home. Because it's your, your love that you put into it. It's not only your secret recipe, but also the love that you put into it. And I think for every parent, they always feel that, their own parenting style is the best,
yes.
Right? So how is it that, how is it that we can actually get it through to the parents that it's necessary to look outside the confines of your own experiences, of your own childhood, of your own ideas and thoughts of parenting? Isn't that the breaking the glass ceiling, or that break through the door, a task in itself before actually getting down to the content?
Yes, I agree with you, and I have experienced it as an expert in the field, that not all parents will be open. When I started this journey of being working in this field, I started with my social media content, and I started talking about parenting, and 6 years back people used to say, who talks about this? Yeah. I mean, we need to learn parenting. We have been parenting children for years. So I get that a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I start with this disclaimer that you are the expert. You know your children the best. What I am trying to help, or I'm trying to enlighten, is how children are, how children's brain works. And why I got this idea of book is also the same, because at least someone will pick up the book and read and will get some information and will be able to relate. My whole book is about my mistakes. I think we are learning more by our mistakes. By the time children are like at the age of 5, you're trying to understand how to parent them. Then they become 10, and you just think that, yes, now I've got this stage, and then they become 10. And then you think, now I've got this stage, and then they become 15. So we are learning and learning and learning. So when we are parenting children, when we see the broader perspective of learning from them than only teaching them, we will be open to learning, ma'am.
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to spread, just the awareness, just the seed of consciousness. Let's wake up and raise our children and be more conscious.
Yes, totally. Learning from them is something which has been cardinal to, my growth as an individual also. Because, whenever people ask me about my son or my parenting and, whatever I do which people see in public, I keep telling them that that was the most transformative moment in my life, the moment I held him in my hands. And today when he is 5 years old, I am also 5 years old,
Yes.
So I was reborn that day, and I'm as vulnerable as he is, and I'm as open to growing and exploring the world as he is, and that has completely changed my perspective as a woman, as a civil servant, as a public person, as a writer, in whatever way, the lens through which I view the world has completely changed now, and it has changed for good, because it has made me more curious, it has made the world look more colorful, and it has given a boost of positivity in me. Yesterday when we landed here, we hopped on to, the car, and my son immediately started talking to the, to the driver in the car, and started telling him all kinds of stories about what happened in the train. And the driver was taken aback. First time a child is seeing him, because he relates with him so much with the kind of people whom we have seen at home. You know, when we have my staff or my friends or drivers, anyone who comes around. So he's very fascinated with this process of driving. So, you know, anyone who handles the steering is the ultimate hero to him. So the moment he sees a hero, he is all gaga over him. And so there's that lack of, you know, judgment that we as adults always keep doing when we look at people, when we counter human beings. I always find that, you know, children look at everything with such a sense of innocence and such a sense of positivity that every person who appears in front of them are good people, are bona fide intentions, unless proven otherwise, you know. And that is probably the best parenting lesson I have got from my son, to, you know, a different way to view people without judging them. So can you share your experiences and probably what you have learned from your journey?
So I've got 2 kids, and my elder one is 8, my younger one is 1.5, and all the credit for this book goes to my elder one. I have been talking to a lot of parents, but my elder one has taught me so much. Oh my God, he has shown me parts of myself that I didn't even know existed. So it's been a journey that way. But I want to talk about the part where you said children are so non-judgmental. And when I talk about parenting, and I talk to parents, or I'm helping parents talk to other parents by teaching them how to be a parent coach, one thing that I'm trying to instill in them is that part of non-judgment. Not judging children is one thing, not judging other parents.
Yeah.
This book is intended to provide a safe space to parents where they do not feel, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I a wrong parent? That's why I've just discussed my mistakes. We all are making mistakes. If a parent is shouting at a child, what do you think? The child is suffering? Okay. The parent must be suffering. The parent must be suffering that they are shouting at the child like that. We all have an inner child. So let's be non-judgmental to each other. Let's understand where each other's behaviors are coming from. Let's understand where our behavior is coming from. That guilt that we carry, which is a very natural thing to carry when you become a mom or a dad, I think guilt is something that is just gifted to you. And you have to just deal with it. But the only way we can deal with it is when we are kind to ourselves. When we understand ourselves. And we can be kinder to our children when we are kind to ourselves. So a lot of it begins over here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also I think in, you know, this generation of parents, or parenting as I would call it, we tend to breathe down each other's neck quite a bit. And we also feel, and we are made to feel solely responsible for our children, which I think is a completely wrong notion, you know, like the old adage goes, it takes a village to raise a child, right? And it does, trust me, it's not just one person or 2 people who are responsible for a child's upbringing. Every single person that the child interacts with, every single situation that the child goes through, every single thought that is seeded into the child in today's age and era, also through the virtual world, everything is actually responsible. So we are kind of just curators, I would say, you know, sitting in KLF. We are not, one person is not solely responsible for another person's being and upbringing. And I feel that's a myth. And that you know, that burden of parenting, which is shouldered by the young parents today, itself makes them extremely anxious and vulnerable to delivering the responsibility. You know? So I feel that it's time that we spread out this notion of parenting and not confine it to the, you know, walls of the structure of parenting as we hold it today. What would be your take on that?
Yes, I agree. It takes a village to raise a child, and I use that line so often because it does, right? Today's family systems are changing. There are nuclear families in so many cities. Parents have to move out. They get married over there. They have a child. They are working. I mean, working parents, both are working, raising a child. There's so much pressure today on the parent. And then I must say, though, I am a content creator myself and I am spreading knowledge through Instagram. But there is so much that people are talking about parenting that there is this pressure building on parents now. Okay, I should not shout at my child. Okay, but then how will I discipline my child? Am I being too calm? Am I not disciplining enough? Or am I being too hard and I'm not able to understand my child? Okay, I heard this, I tried this, it didn't work. But I mean, there's so much going on. Too much information is also not helping. So that's the reason for me to write this book, because when I was working with parents and through social media, I was getting so many messages that, Divyaji, I would get messages like, I would see, these days social media's algorithm is such that you put like 1-minute video, or even on YouTube, you would put 20-minute video. It is just a video where you're talking about how to understand a child's behavior. If your child is crying, lying down on the floor, this is the reason they might be crying, so understand your child. Now, what happens over here is a parent tries this because this is just half information. Now, they will try what we are saying and they will forget the word firm. So they are understanding the child so much that again they get lost, that the situation got out of hand. I couldn't handle, ma'am, my child has stopped listening, they are becoming even more rude. When we say go under the rudeness, they think that, should we let our children be rude? So is that what we are supposed to do now? Today's generation are not taught to be respectful. So there's a lot of gap. Yes. In the knowledge. I remember there was this, even 1 hour of a session, personal session is not enough. When I talked to this parent, and she was a very hard parent because that's how she was also raised. And she kept talking about how she has been making mistakes, slapping, being very stern, but it's not working with her child. Her child was 5-year-old girl. And then she had a session, couple of sessions with me where I helped her understand how to be gentle or how to be calmer and how to help her. Then she gave this big message, long message she sent to me, how it was helping her and how she's so happy that her child and the connection is building very strong. And connection is very, very important. I've talked about it in the book. Yeah. But coming back to the point, after a month, she wrote this long message to me where she said that things have completely gone haywire. I slapped my daughter after 1 month. It's because she was doing this to me that I am going to slap you hard, and it just triggered me. I don't know what happened, Ishina, and all that. And then I had another session with her, and I realized that she had gone from one extreme to another extreme. Yeah. She was not being firm, and she said this line to me after the session, Dr. Ishina, I was so focused on being calm that I missed your word of being firm. So how balancing boundaries with being calm, balancing discipline while understanding children, how to balance all this? That's why I decided to write this book, to give the one whole picture to the parent if they really need it, that how we are going to balance all this.
Yeah, I think, as you said, balance is the key word in parenting. The way we try to center ourselves is very key to how you behave to your child, because at the end of the day, as you said, I think you've said that in your book as well, children look at us and emulate us rather than listen to us. And that's what all of us end up doing as well as adults. So, they say children are not things to be molded, but they are people to be unfolded.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that ultimately is the key of parenting as well. And since you spoke about the 1-minute videos and the reels and social media, I don't know how many of you follow her on Instagram, but she has a whooping 1.2 million followers, right? So. So, she's a bona fide social media star who later on, I think, turned into
I'm learning
writing
and
the book as well. But this journey, from the reels and the, display cards and graphics and the 1-minute videos and the brief communications, which seem to be the art of the day, from that to writing a long, rather comprehensive book, That must have been tough for you yourself. But what I want to ask you is, how do we translate it into our children? Because the children of today are so attuned to this sense of, brief spans of attention and not really wanting to go into the depths of issues or situations or interests for that matter. You know, everything is very fleeting, and you get attuned to what is being served in front of you in a platter. So we, as a generation that have grappled, that have straddled both the worlds, you know, the slow-paced world prior to the information revolution and the fast-paced world after that, we kind of know both the ends, and still we are struggling hard. How do you think, is the future of our children going to be when it comes to what they have imbibed from us as parents, as imperfect parents to them? And how are they going to deal with this whole host of, technology and information?
I will start with this, that let's believe in the next generation more. We have so many doubts just because they have a more comfortable living than we had maybe, or because they have those 1-minute reels, so we feel that they will not be able to focus, how will they concentrate? All those concerns are valid. But then this generation is very aware also. See, there are more questions, they are more curious. And harsh parenting is somewhere backfiring earlier. There was a time when if you were a harsh parent, today we say we are still scared of our parents, or we would say that harsh parenting would backfire in the sense that children will start speaking up. If you shout at your child, it will not seem to be working anymore. This used to happen when children were 15, 16, 20, 25. You will say, हाँ, बच्चा बड़ा हो गया. Now the child, वो बोलते हैं ना, the shoe size is the same, so be careful. I'm just trying to translate it. But now, even a 5-year-old is going to, they are going to challenge you in different ways. This is a very aware generation. There's a lot of information that they are getting very early on. So let's meet the children where they are instead of comparing our time with theirs. Yeah. We were not better, they are no less. We are no less, they are no better. We are living in a time, let's accept it and help children the way we can. If we are going to accept them, they will be more open to our suggestions. If you are going to say, because of these reels, you are not able to focus on your studies, then they are going to get away from you because we are judging them. But if we say, wow, because of these reels, you get so much information. Did you know this because of that reel? I also saw it. I'm so glad you have so much information today. Let's watch some movie also, or let's read this book also. A lot of information is here. So meet the child where they are instead of judging them.
Yes, that's beautiful. And I think, with that openness towards parenting, we should wrap up this with probably a question or two from the audience. Since I see 00 and red there. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Basically, we are very protective for children. So give us some pointers or some signs when you know that they are ready to go on their own out into the, the ocean or the forest. So they can handle themselves. How do you decide on that?
It's a journey, sir. There is no particular age that at 18 now the child is ready to face the world on his or her own. We have this instinct to protect our children, but we also have to understand that if we'll keep protecting them, by 18, how will they be prepared? It's very important for us to give them space to face the world where they can. For example, at little age, when your child is like 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, and they are facing a problem with the teacher, not right away going to the teacher and talking to the teacher. Talking to the child, understanding the problem, helping the child solve the problem with the friends, with the teachers. If they are not preparing for the exam, letting them be. While you're supporting them, you have that minimum support, but not taking so much responsibility that the child is not able to explore or learn from that. So we have to, and while correcting our children and directing our children, we have to slowly, it's like this, that you're protecting, then you leave a little. Then you protect, then you leave a little. And as they grow, the leaving gets more and the protecting gets less, and then you become more of a guiding person from the distance. And that's how you let children explore the world as they grow and they are 18, 20, while still being there for them so that they can fall back on you, and building that connection with them so that they can come back to us at any stage of their life, even if it's an adult to adult relationship now. But building that connection, how do we build that connection? By the way we have built that relationship with them, that non-judgment, that being vulnerable ourselves, showing that we make mistakes too, so that when they make a mistake, they do not feel that I'm talking to a perfect parent, they will not be able, we will not be approachable. So building that connection so that they can come back to us, and remembering that God is with them. So believing in the divine.
You can't expect children to, say learn swimming by hugging them in the water, right? You need to let them swim. But, I stay as the lifeguard there when he learns to swim,
Wow.
That's how I would like to put it. That's how
Wow.
you let them into the water. Yeah.
Hi, ma'am. Actually, I had a question for Divya, ma'am, as well as we are having running short of time. I'm saving it for later.
Yeah.
And Ishina, ma'am, I have a niece. She's 10 months old. And I'm as anxious as my sister in raising her. And since my brother-in-law is abroad, so all of us are concerned about her. So could you share some insights on how family can support a new parent, particularly a single mom raising her in this context? Could you please share some insights on that? Thank you.
Yeah. Let's refrain from giving too much advice at the stage of parenting, and helping instead of judging. I have felt this myself, and I think all moms, because you're talking about a single mom, that when there's too much advice and everyone's telling you, do this, don't do this, it makes you even more anxious. So giving them space to grow. You become a parent without any degree. You just in one day get a child, and now you have to take care of this little baby. So you need that space to grow and learn with the child. Being anxious is very natural. So not judging your anxiety also. Even if you want a break from your child, not judging yourself for wanting that break also. I mean, self-love is something that we have to relocate and find again. When you have a baby, you have to take care of the baby the whole time, and you're responsible. So finding yourself again is also a journey, and then it's a new self that you find. So giving that space to the parent is very important, while being there, telling them, okay, fine, give me the baby, take 30 minutes, have your coffee. That's the practical way that you can do it. I think that's what new parents need.
Absolutely. When I'm sitting here, Shabri is there with my son, taking care of him, and that's why I'm happily sitting here and talking. So, and when both of us go away, our parents are there for him, and we know that, that is the backbone of our existence. So, I think we agree on that point. There's something that we completely missed, but we don't have time to talk about it, which is the gender of parenting. So, in fact, there is a book, I'll just wrap up on that if you allow me. There's a book called Dear Ijiyavale. You must have read that. It's a Dear Ijiyavale. It's a feminist manifesto, which I have translated into Malayalam. DC Books has published it. So it is about how to raise a child beyond genders, I would say. It talks about how to raise a girl child, as an empowered woman in this world. But when you read that, you understand that it is not only about girl child, it is about parenting beyond genders. So that is something probably in another session we can mull over and we can talk over. But, girl or boy, mother or father, or anybody else, parenting is a completely holistic activity, which is about, let me come back to the point where I started. It is about giving up yourself and raising yourself in the process of raising your child. Would you agree to that?
So beautifully put. Thank you, Divya ji,
Thank
for
you so
putting it
much.
like that, and thank you for having me over here. All of you, thank you for being here, listening so patiently, and for you asking such beautiful questions. Thank you. It has been a pure pleasure.
Thank you very much, Ishina ma'am and Divya ma'am, for your wonderful session. Thank you very much for joining at KLF.